Subscribing to The Observer on YouTube couldn't be easier, and we're going to show you exactly how to do that. First, navigate to www.youtube.com/theobservernj. Once you get there, all you need to do is hit the subscribe button. Next to the subscribe button, click the down arrow and then all. And that's it. You're subscribed, and now anytime The Observer is live, you will be notified. Hi again, everybody. It's Kevin Canesta coming to you live from the home studio today on this, the 10th day of June in the year 2025. Sure hope you're enjoying your Tuesdays, no matter where it is you are in the country. And as we do each and every week, we begin the broadcast with my dear friend Tony Mondaro of the Harrison Weather Center. And here he is, the immortal man behind all the weather forecasts that we talk about, Tony Mondaro. Good afternoon, Tony.
Kevin, good afternoon, and hopefully the rain is out of here for the day. Almost about 1.25 inches of rain only this morning. That brings our totals up to nearly 2 inches in this young month right now. So there could be still maybe a spot shower or thunderstorm, but I think it would be widely scattered this evening and overnight clearing. And tomorrow, for the events, it looks like a nice day with plenty of sunshine, with temperatures recovering back into the 80s. We'll flirt with near 90-degree weather again on Thursday before we cool back down into the 80s on Friday. It looks like a 50-50 weekend. Right now, the latest information says maybe some rain showers on Saturday and Sunday. Greater chance on Saturday with temperatures falling back into the 70s. But with that northerly flow, it looks like we might bring in some of that upper level smoke.
I'd like to go to first tomorrow, because tomorrow is the senior picnic in Kearny. And if you look at the screen right here, this is from a couple of years ago. That's Chief Scott McPhee when he was deputy chief. Councilman Status Theodoropoulos, who is running the show, Councilman Festito, and former Councilman Rich Kanaka in the picture here. Do you think they'll get through the day tomorrow? It seems like they will, right?
Absolutely, Kevin. Let me know what time to pick you up. I'll take 2 cheeseburgers, well done, and we'll go up there and have a visit of that nice picnic. I like that food. Now you made me hungry.
Well, here's the thing that really bothers me. I am a few years away from being eligible to go to the picnic. It's 55 and older. I mean, I remember watching that as a kid thinking, wow, I'm a long way off from that. Now I'm a few years away from it, for God's sake, Tony.
I'm sure you have to be a Kearny resident, right, Kev?
No, I'll tell you what. If you showed up, Tony, there's no way Mayor Doyle would say, "Please no, Tony." You know that, because especially you have given her many words of advice, including with the movie night last week. Tell me a little bit about that.
We were driving through that area where we had a movie night. I see the clouds building, and I said, we really should make a call to the mayor and let the mayor know that we could have an issue.
Yeah.
She gave me a couple of contact points from the people who were arranging both events. Was they actually, I think, had an event either simultaneous or close down at the Oval as well, that beautiful sport complex they have in Kearny. Look, we have had showers and storms, and my fear was those showers and storms, especially thunderstorms, coming over that venue packed with people watching a movie and trying to scurry out of there.
Yeah.
We spoke to the mayor initially. She gave us a couple of contact points, and we coordinated with them very closely to decide to cancel that movie night early. And I believe they were able to do some festivities down at the Oval as thunderstorms had passed. So it was a successful night, at least one half of it. But we told them there was a possibility of some redeveloped, and then about two. So always keep the basic, have monitor very closely here at the sector.
Talking about safety and things that you do in your life, I do know that you keep the kids of Washington Middle School safe most days. And you also had a chance to do something special with the broadcasting situation in Washington Middle School. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, as you know, I work for the Harrison Public School System now in my post-retirement. Me and Kara, Katie Baggett, which is the head of the kids there, he said, Tony, would you mind doing the weather for our new TV news program? We need a special guest. I said, sure, why not? So we did a weather forecast, and she followed up with a couple of questions, and that's us on the set. I'm proud of Kara because we did it in one shot, in one take. We didn't have to
Great.
for takes there.
What do they do? Do they do that every day? Is it once a week, once a month? You know what this? You know how they handle that over there?
I believe it's monthly,
Okay.
and yeah, it was good. They had, and of course, they saved the weather for last, as they
Yeah.
usually do, and it was pretty good. I had a lot of fun with it, Kev.
You a graduate of Washington Middle School, Tony?
Yeah, back in 1978, and give me a week, I'll come back and sing the song. I think I remember our alma mater song. But remember, back in the day, back in the 70s, there wasn't no New Harrison High School yet. So, which is now Hamilton School, was Washington Middle School, now, which is the middle school now, was my old high school. So I get to work where I graduated high school every day.
Isn't that something? Isn't that something? Well, the nostalgia must come over you like every time you walk in the building, because I know it happens to me whenever I go to Lincoln School, right?
I tell you, Kev, and two, we see some of the older teachers around, even teachers I had retired night school. Some of our older teachers and retired teachers are administrators, like we still get to see Mr. Dofont there, which is great. To tell you the memories and some of the war stories we told, they hold our teachers near and dear. I work with a great staff. Anybody has a kid in any of our public school systems, because we work with Kearny Board of Education, uh, with North Arlington Board of Education, and near and dear to my heart now, the Harrison Public School System, the Board of Education. What wonderful programs, what wonderful students, what wonderful teachers. I couldn't be happier that I found something in retirement. It's not really even going to work because I have a lot of fun with it. I have a good camaraderie with the staff and also with the students.
You're talking about the faculty at Washington Middle School, and I have to mention somebody who is very important to me, and that's Laura Compton, who is she's an artist extraordinaire, but she's also a great writer, which is a rarity where you have somebody who's a great artist and who can write at the same time. And she has done so many things for us at the Observer. I had to mention her right there because she is a special person. Have you ever had a chance to interact with Laura?
Absolutely. Many times, a lot of the teachers we're going to score with. And I like that. I like being able to go back and forth with our teachers. I think it's awesome.
It really is. If you're just joining me, Tony Mondaro of the Harrison Weather Center is with us. And Tony, I have to tell you something. I am a YouTube, I don't know what if you want to call it, freak. I'm constantly watching YouTube. And the other day I watched a video which comes to us from NBC News in Miami. And the weather guy down there gave a report which I found to be dire, but I don't know whether it was being overly dramatic. I'd like to show that to you right now, if you don't mind. And then after I show you that video, let's talk about it on the other side. How's that sound?
Sounds great. Have my popcorn ready.
All right, here's the video from NBC Miami.
Listen, I've been on this, since 8 o'clock this morning on social media, and there is a lot of anxiety out there because you don't see it turning, right? When is it going to turn? John, it's not turning. It's coming straight to us. It's going to turn. All right. The turn was never forecast to be on Sunday. The turn isn't even on Monday morning. The turn will come Monday afternoon, Monday evening, into Tuesday. Remember that? That was about 6 years ago. That was Hurricane Dorian, as it was absolutely devastating the Northwest Bahamas as a Category 5, sat over that region for 2 days. It was headed straight west. Lots of people in Florida were concerned the hurricane was heading here. And as you've grown accustomed to my presentations over my 34 years in South Florida newscasts, confidently, I went on TV and I told you, it's going to turn. You don't need to worry. It is going to turn. And I am here to tell you that I am not sure I can do that this year because of the gutting, the sledgehammer attack on science in general, and I could talk about that for a long, long time, and how that is affecting the U.S. Leadership in science over many years, and how we're losing that leadership, and this is a multi-generational impact on science in this country, all right? But specifically, let's talk about the federal government cuts to the National Weather Service and to NOAA. Did you know that Central and South Florida National Weather Service offices are currently basically 20 to 40% understaffed? From Tampa to Key West, including the Miami office, 20 to 40% understaffed. Now, this type of staffing shortage is having impacts across the nation because there's been a nearly 20% reduction in weather balloon launches that carry those radiosondes. And what we're starting to see is that the quality of the forecasts is becoming degraded. There's also a chance, because of some of these cuts, that NOAA Hurricane Hunter aircraft will not be able to fly this year, and with less reconnaissance missions, we may be flying blind. And we may not exactly know how strong a hurricane is before it reaches the coastline, like happened a couple of years ago in Hurricane Otis in Acapulco, Mexico. So I was asked to talk about this today. I'm glad I was. I just want you to know that what you need to do is call your representatives and make sure that these cuts are stopped.
Tony, that was John Morales of NBC6 in Miami. What say you?
I've been involved with the National Weather Service for a very long time, since the 80s. We have a close working relationship with not only offices at Brookhaven, New York, and Mount Holly, New Jersey, regional office out in Bohemia, and also the national centers. I know many people who work there. Like said, worry about cuts as well. I'm here to tell you this afternoon, as far as we're concerned, we still have the same Hurricane Center director and staff. They have not moved. Mount Holly, New Jersey National Weather Service lost two junior people who were just hired. They were let go. They're going to be rehired back in July at a National Weather Service Upton in Brookhaven, New York. We didn't lose anyone. Those cuts, but the MIC, the boss, the person in charge, retired. The person that was the office assumed his position, and they'll be doing that every 6 months until they find a replacement. I've been informed of the National Weather Service being able to rehire again. As far as I understand, no reconnaissance missions have been cut, no Hurricane Center staffing or the Miami office has been cut at all. So right now, it's a wait and see. Something very concerning, but any type of movement, we would probably be the first ones to know here through the National Weather Service. The one screen, as you can see, people looking behind left to right, that left-hand screen on top of that little blue clock on the console, that's a direct chat that we have with the National Weather Service forecast office. It's live. And these phones that you see behind me, the red phones, are directly to the National Weather Service to talk to a live forecaster or the on-duty warning forecaster at any time. So we're well connected with the National Weather Service. So right now, I would say it's a wait and see. I know one of our training, which is called Huravac, which is run by FEMA, was supposed to be last month, got moved to July. I believe that was a funding issue. Thanks to the county emergency management and our local emergency managers, we've been sent to a lot of training for hurricane evacuation and hurricane preparedness. So if the towns ever need our expertise when it comes to moving people and to move people correctly, we're able to help our public safety and emergency management to do that. So that's as far as I know, Ken.
So, correct me if I'm wrong. Is that another example of a weather TV weatherman getting overly excited for no reason, or do you think like maybe he does? Perhaps he said, he mentioned Palm Beach. Maybe there is something to it, or is there no way to know?
Something to the magnitude that he was talking about, I would know, even if it was in Florida, because there's plenty, when that hurricane nears the coast, you got to remember, hurricane reconnaissance aircraft do not fly over land. They only fly over the water for a lot of different reasons. A lot of it's turbulence and storm, but there has been no cuts, and either the Air Force Reserve, which flies out, and also the NOAA aircraft that flies into the hurricanes. And also, if anything, they're using sea drones now. They're using more buoys now and weather networks out over the border and ships to report the observations. So we have not seen any degradation in any of the weather observations so far. So all the information that we need, the modeling and everything like that, we still have here. There has been no cuts at all. Now there's a move to try to automate or AI some of these weather forecasts. I'm kind of hesitant because we've experimented with them during the winter time months, and we found those forecasts, those AI forecasts right now, to be far, far, far off. We still need to have an envelope of a lot of information coming here to try to get the right weather forecast. But AI, as far as the weather concerned, has a long way to go.
I'm really glad to hear that because all that you've mentioned. Because this week my editorial is about, believe it or not, something that Pope Leo said about not believing everything you see and hear that's out there. And it's very important to use what he said, a discerning eye, to interpret what you hear on a daily basis. And when I first saw that video from Morales, I was panicking. I thought, oh my God, of all places, Florida, I would hate to see them be 40% down in people when a big hurricane comes. But here we are, and it's possible that he was over exaggerating. And using that discerning eye, that's what I did. And my discerning eye led me to you. And I thank you very much for being so open and honest about his, I don't want to say dishonesty, but his maybe lack of information. Thank you, Tony.
You're welcome, Kevin. It was our pleasure to try to shed some light. And for our loyal viewers out there, which I'm sure is going to like and subscribe to this broadcast today, we'll update you the entire hurricane season, which just started a few days ago on June 1st, if there's any updates.
What's going on in Tony's world otherwise?
This world otherwise is still trying to get some funding for the new weather station outside there. They maybe try, but we're now thinking maybe to retire that weather station, use the ground station that we have here, and use that part when the ground station has issues, and repurpose what we have there. A brand new station for us to have here would have to take major funding of between $10,000 and $20,000 with installation to get a new weather station here. And I'm 61 years old, Kev, so I don't know if I really want it here at the Harrison Weather Center. It might be better served at maybe one of our, public safety buildings or at our town hall, public safety complex, where they'll get more out of it, as I age out in, 10 to 15 years, because that weather station will last a very long time. And these weather stations now don't have any parts. So we've already casted a net out for some funding, and unfortunately, on the way back on the receiving end, it's been crickets. And it's unfortunate, but that's the way of the world now.
You last year around this time mentioned, or maybe it was earlier in the year, I can't remember right really, but you had mentioned that there is a GoFundMe page for the Harrison Weather Center. Would you like to talk about that now, or are you holding off on that?
Well, I like to hold off on it, Kevin, because there are people out there are very, very, when it comes to funding us. We get several $1,000s from a year, and that goes right back. If you take a look behind you, this folks, this is not a fake, a fake background. This is real. This is the Harrison Weather Center itself. You're right in the heart of the matter. Sometimes we'll shift to different camera shots to give you a little bit of a different view of the weather center here. But it's because of the people, our viewers, and our people on Facebook that we have an operation like that. And we do have some here, so it's not like we're totally blind. We're able to see. After we retired, we had to cut a lot of our vendors that we used to use because you don't get the same money when you retire than when you're working a public sector job that I had for many years, and happy. So in retirement, you have to cut back a little bit, but the Weather Center still has all the vital information coming out of here and reporting capabilities. It's just that we don't have all the bells and whistles that we used to have. We, you can still do the job, but it's not the same like what it was before.
On our way out here, let's talk a little bit about the New York Metropolitans. A very good weekend in Colorado and Denver. Pretty amazing what's happening right now, isn't it?
As we said, Kev, you have to beat up on the weak teams. We got out of there with the two wins, a split, which was good, and we beat up on the Rockies. Now we have the Nationals. I think we have a 4-game lead in the East. I know I'm sleeping a lot better at night. How about you, Kev?
Oh yeah, sleeping every single night. Because there was a time where they fell out of first place, but they got right back, and that was always the thing that used to drive me nuts about the Mets. They never performed against weak teams. They would always look and say, "All right, now's our chance. We got 4 with Colorado. We got 4 with the Chicago White Sox, whatever it was." And they'd lose those games. Now they're winning. Thanks be to God, finally. So I think this is going to be a special year, Tone. I know it's only June, and I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I really think this is going to be one of those years. Tony?
If the Mets win the World Series, my promise to you on this channel every Tuesday at 1:30, the first show we do after they win the World Series this year, and whatever year we're still here, I'm going to sing the Let's Go Meet the Mets song live on this channel, a cappella with no music background. How's that?
Yes.
First verse, and if Kevin, you know the words, you're more than welcome to join in. It'll be pretty fun.
Yes, it's going to be a duo, Tony, and I know the words. And you know what? Maybe we can even go to the parade and broadcast from the parade. How about that? I'm getting. Oh yeah, I'm getting way. I better shut up. I'm going to jinx all this right now. But thank you. I think that's a good idea, though. No, we'll sing "Meet the Mets," and that'll be fun.
That'd be awesome. Yeah,
Yes,
absolutely. All my Mets gear on too.
exactly. Tony Mondaro, my friend, thank you for this. Thank you for doing this every week, and we will connect soon. Thanks again for everything.
Have a great show, and once again, thanks for having me.
All right, brother. Talk to you later. There he is, the one and only Tony Mondaro. He of the Harrison Weather Center. I really need to calm down with the Mets stuff, though, because I'm getting way ahead of things. A few things that I need to get to real quick, if you don't mind. This is something we mentioned earlier, but tomorrow, beginning at 11:30 at the Doyle Pavilion, is the annual Senior Citizens Picnic in the town of Kearny. It's the 34th year, but the second. The Councilman Theodoropoulos will be running this, so we wish him all the best tomorrow in getting it together and for it to be a great day for all the seniors involved. We will certainly stop by there tomorrow, bring you a lot of pictures next week, or maybe even Friday on a broadcast. But for all the seniors, just remember, it's tomorrow. You cannot bring kids. This is not the place or the time for children to be showing up. In fact, in the past, some people have brought grandkids with them. Don't do it. You're going to get turned away. So that's coming up tomorrow, beginning at 11:30 a.m. at the Doyle Pavilion on Passaic Avenue. Do not forget about that. And as I have been doing over the last couple of weeks, I just want to remind you that the Project Graduation 2025 50/50 tickets are still for sale. They will be pulled on graduation day. It's usually a very, very big pot. And it's important to remember that this is a big day for the graduates. It keeps them off the streets, keeps them safe, but it is not a cheap proposition. So if you are inclined, please consider buying 50/50 tickets. You can pause the video right here. Take your phone, scan the QR code with your camera. It'll bring you right to the Venmo donation page. And the tickets are $5 a piece. And the winner's going to walk away with a ton of money. And you'll be supporting a tremendous cause. So please give that some consideration as well. Now, this week's newspaper. I just want to talk a few things about what's on the front page. The first thing, County Executive Craig Guy and Mayor Carol Jean Doyle got together with the operator of the heliport in South Kearny, and they have come to a consensus agreement, and helicopter traffic in Kearny and Hudson County will be curtailed. They worked together. This is where collaboration is a great thing when it comes to county and local government. And I want to personally thank County Executive Craig Guy, Mayor Doyle, for being able to pull this together. Because if it weren't for them getting involved, there would be no resolution. The people would be up in arms, especially those folks in Jersey City and Hoboken who have to deal with this on a more regular basis. But even here in Kearny, you know that there are helicopters around here. Not as bad as it is in those other communities, but when people collaborate and get things together, this is what happens. Success, and it would be a good thing for everybody in Hudson County. On Friday, the Kearny Police Department, along with a bunch of students from Lincoln Middle School, carried the Special Olympics Torch along Kearny Avenue. They stopped at Lincoln Middle School for the kids to end there. But these are images that were taken that day. That's Detective Anthony Oliveira holding the torch. And in the picture, you may not be able to see it right now unless you're watching on a big screen. Police Chief Scott McPhee is in that picture, as is Tom Pontrella and a bunch of the other guys of the Kearny Police Department who ran on this special day in June. And we congratulate them for doing this each and every year for as long as I can remember. But how about that? Chief McPhee still running each and every year, even though he is the chief now. He does find the time to support the Special Olympics. And that's why he is a very special human being. And of course, as you know, we talked about this over the weekend. There was an armed robbery Friday at the Seabras gymnasium, and it was really a wild scene there. And unfortunately, this guy who owns a gym on Kearny Avenue was involved in the armed robbery, and he pistol whipped somebody in the face. The clerk was seriously injured, had to have surgery. I don't know if he's out of the hospital right now, but what I want to do is, a reader anonymously sent us this video of the guy who is responsible for the armed robbery. And I'm going to show you that clip right now because it was pretty interesting to see how he was behaving. And it kind of gives you a better insight as to the kind of way he was when he did what he did at the Seabra. Without any further ado, here's that video. Sorry, I got to get this off the screen. There's no sound. If you're wondering, there is no sound to this video, but somebody caught these videos and took these videos of him standing in the window and doing whatever this is. I don't know, but this is the gentleman, and we can only hope and pray that he gets the help that he needs, because it looks pretty obvious that he does, in fact, need help. Somebody asked me if I knew when this was taken the other day, and I'm pretty certain it was taken in the winter because I saw a couple of people walking by. And when they did, they had winter jackets on, but this was happening right in the window of the gymnasium along Kearny Avenue. So you see that right there. That is very crazy, to say the very least. All right, everybody, that's going to do it for this edition of the Observer Live. I have to thank Tony Mondaro for joining us today and discussing the weather. I want to thank each and every one of you for joining us today. Don't forget, we'll be back 1 week from today. But of course, if anything breaks during the course of the week, we will join you then. From the home studio, it's Kevin Canessa signing off for now. And we hope to see you back here again very, very soon. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesdays, everybody, and enjoy the picnic tomorrow if you go. Take care.